I want to take you somewhere. It's a summer night, a backyard in Fredericksburg, Virginia. 3 acres behind a colonial looking house with white columns. But the backyard doesn't look like a backyard anymore. It looks like a beach. Palm trees lit up all around the yard. Inflatable beach balls scattered through the grass. Lounge chairs, kayaks, pools. A long sidewalk runs through the middle of the lawn, and we've turned it into the runway. Long, lit on both sides, covering most of the backyard. There's a huge movie screen set up beyond it, showing the runway live, the artist live, the crowd live. Photographers and videographers moving through, catching everything. A VIP section with real cooked food, seafood, charcuterie, heavy hors d'oeuvres, liquor, beer, wine. None of it half done. All of it the way I would want it if someone were doing it for me. An artist I'd flown in first class is about to perform live while models walk in clothes I designed myself. My life at that exact moment was a wreck. I had no place of my own. The only reason I had clothes on my back was because they were in storage at Diane's house, the same house this backyard belonged to. Relationship destroyed a few months earlier. Income falling off a cliff. Most of what I'd owned, I sold on OfferUp to get out. I spent my last $11,000 producing that night. I want to tell you how all of that was true at the same time. The dream had been in me for years before I had any business chasing it. I was obsessed with the Victoria's Secret fashion show. Not for the obvious reasons, for the way they layered it. Models walking, musical artists performing live, 2 crafts in the same room at the same moment. I knew I wanted that one day for my brand. I just didn't know when or how. The brand was called Composure. It started ugly, me ordering blank garments from China and slapping a logo on them. 2 years of learning later, I had a real activewear line, tech packs, real manufacturers, real fittings, pieces I was actually proud of. I'd had the show booked at a hotel downtown DC. Then the nudge came, the one I told you about last episode. That nudge said, leave the relationship. And I didn't negotiate. I put everything I owned on OfferUp and got out. The hotel ballroom became impossible at that moment. The reasonable move was to cancel. I couldn't. I'm telling you that not as a brag, but as a confession. There was something in me that would not let it die. And burning is the only word I've ever had for it. The desire didn't care that the venue was gone. It didn't care that I was about to be homeless. It just kept burning. I stayed with Diane at this point, the woman who'd bought my couch on OfferUp and ended up taking me in. That whole story I told you in the last episode. Her house in Fredericksburg sat on 3 acres. The building looked like something off a college campus. White columns, the works. It was beautiful. The first night I arrived, I was drawn to the backyard like a moth to a flame. I can't fully explain it. And every night after that, even in the rain, I was out there, looking up at the stars, feeling peace. Real peace. The kind I hadn't felt in I don't know how long. I had space to breathe out there. I felt safe with the woman I just met, with her family. I'd known these people a matter of weeks, and I felt safer in their backyard than I had in any home of my own. I can't explain that either. I just know it was true. One night I was sitting back there and I thought, what if I just had it here? Not in a hotel, here, in this backyard. I could see it before I'd done anything about it. And that's the part I want you to hear. I could see the show in that backyard before there was any reason to believe it could happen. So I got that nudge again, and I started reaching out. Now, there's an artist I love, a producer named Tall Black Guy. His sound carries the exact feeling I wanted composure to live inside. So I told myself I was just emailing to ask what a performance would cost. Like just gathering information, not committing to anything. He told me the number, but I was surprised I even got a response. I had no business saying yes. I had no place of my own. My income was a fraction of what it had been, and by every reasonable metric, I should have closed the email and moved on. But I said yes. I told him I'd figure it out, and I did. I flew him in first class, put him up in a beautiful hotel. I treated him the way I'd want to be treated as an artist, being brought in to do his craft. I spent my last $11,000 making that night exist. And I want to be honest with you. I don't recommend that anyone do that as their strategy. I'm not selling you on it. I'm telling you what I did. The night came. The backyard was transformed. Models walked in my designs. Tall Black Guy performed live. Music and clothes, breathing together in a yard better than any ballroom I would have rented. I stood off to the side and I felt something I don't have a clean word for. It wasn't relief, not pride exactly, but something closer to recognition. Like I was finally meeting a version of myself I'd been seeing in my head for years. A few weeks later, my life kept unraveling. I'd be living in a motel by the end of that year, paid for by a community organization. The $11,000, that was gone, man. The brand would eventually go quiet. By every external measure, I was about to be in worse shape than I'd ever been. But on that night, in that backyard, I had what I imagined. Exactly. Down to the music. Now, here's the thing I keep coming back to. The burning desire didn't know my life was supposed to be over. It didn't know the timing was wrong. It didn't read the room. It just kept asking to be let through. I think most men kill their dreams in the hard seasons. They look at the wreckage around them and decide now isn't the time. And that's reasonable. But that's what the world will tell you to do. What I learned in that backyard in Fredericksburg is that the dream isn't waiting for your life to be in order. The dream might be the thing that's building the order. It might be the thing carrying you through. I'll say it again because I want to be honest about my own choices. I spent my last $11,000. And I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you what I needed to do in that season to prove something to myself. And what it proved was this. The next version of me wasn't going to be built from stability. The next version of me was being built right there in the rubble while I was doing things that didn't make sense on paper. So here's what I want you to sit with for the rest of your drive. Is there a dream you've put down because your life isn't in order yet? What if it's not waiting for you to be ready? What if it's been trying to carry you the whole time? Now, you don't have to do anything with that today. Just consider the thoughts. And when you're ready to be honest with yourself, stop pretending you've let it go. I'll see you in the next one.